Good evening. Transit safety is in the forefront once again this week in our city. A recent death at the MacEwan LRT platform has some students worried about their safety while commuting.
For some students, this means...
Yeah, sorry, script was slow.
It's okay. Oy.
Slightly, but I think it's more so just me. No worries. Yeah. Cut.
Tonight on Nate Newswatch.
A criminologist weighs in on the current state of public transit.
You know that your city is in disarray when your homicides don't make the front page.
Shopping Canadian just got easier.
Our future goal would be to continue to support Canadians and kind of build a very reliable database of product information.
From refugee support to full-time business.
We are happy here because I don't worry if we'll wake up tomorrow.
Newswatch starts now.
Good evening. Transit safety is in the forefront once again this week in our city. A recent death at the MacEwan LRT platform has some students worried about their safety while commuting.
For some students, this means adopting survival skills or changing behaviors, as transit is an essential part to their everyday life. Our Logan Thompson joins us live from the hallways of Nate with more.
Thanks, guys. For many of us students, public transit is not only convenient, but necessary to our everyday life. And many of us students also have experiences, violent or otherwise, that have left us feeling intimidated, vulnerable, or anxious. I spoke to a criminologist at NorQuest to get his opinion on why he thinks that this issue has become so prevalent.
Yeah, it has made me a bit more scared.
Sanjeevan Alfred Joseph has been a student at NAIT for almost 2 years. And in that time, he's felt unsafe, been harassed, and even assaulted on public transit.
I was going home, this lady just came in the train, and she threw a full bag of chips on my face. And then when I just stood up because I wanted to clean myself, and she was like, "So what are you going to do about it?"
And the recent attack at the MacEwan LRT platform has only shown him the importance of his survival skills.
I normally usually walk fast. I try to avoid any eye contact.
But what about when students have been exposed to violence regularly and just see these incidents as everyday life in Edmonton?
I've heard, and it's a common story to hear.
Kurt Geddes is a student many can relate to, hearing about violence everywhere but not really having a choice but to use the transit system, even after learning what happened to someone close to him.
A group of guys came out and they kind of prompted at them saying, "You're having a bad day," because it's about to get a lot worse.
Students with mindsets like Kurt are becoming more and more common, a stark contrast to students like Sanjeevan. In relation to their services after the attack at the MacEwan LRT station, NAIT Protective Services even said, quote, "There has not been a noticeable increase in questions or concerns." The head of the Justice Studies program here at NorQuest College might have some insight into why that might be the case.
I guarantee you that the last 2 to 4 years that they've been on the trains, they've seen nothing change. So they're not going to invest their own time to try to make that change.
Being a retired Edmonton police officer of 25 years has taught Dan Jones a lot about what happens to people and a city after long-term exposure to violence.
Significant violent events don't even make the news anymore. And I always used to talk about this when I was in a homicide. You know that your city is in disarray when your homicides don't make the front page.
So the question remains, is there anything we as students can do to protect ourselves?
Keep your head up, be aware, don't be looking at your phone. I think that what the students can do is lobby the police to do a better job.
And as for Sanjeevan, well, his request is a little bit simpler.
I would really like to see more is the presence of more peace officers or authorities nearby this station.
NAIT Protective Services would also like to remind students that they do have access to SafeWalk, as well as the NAIT Alert app, which offers a virtual SafeWalk experience. It's also worth noting that we did reach out to MacEwan Protective Services with these similar questions, but they failed to reply.
Logan, EPS recently released their 2024 crime statistics, and citywide crime was reportedly reduced, but violent crime went up. Why is this the case?
Well, while speaking to Dan Jones at NorQuest College, he says this has a lot to do with complacency to crime in our city. Citywide crime wasn't necessarily reduced in 2024, but instead, smaller crimes were just reported less, whereas most people will report violent crime.
Logan, how do the gangs within Edmonton tie into transit crime? And will we see more of it?
Well, it's hard to tell, Yana. How much of this violent crime on public transit is gang-related, but police say that gangs like Red Alert and ASAP are indeed on public transit. As for if this will continue, well, it's likely if nothing changes.
Thanks, Logan. That's our Logan Thompson reporting live from the hallways of NATE.